everyone. Welcome to English Practice Conversation. Basic introductions. Hey there, world. Entering the English game. I'm your host, Alex, and this show is made just for one English learners like you. Today, we're kicking off our journey with the building blocks of every conversation, greetings and simple introductions. You'll learn how to say hello, hi, nice to meet you, and ask how are you, all in a friendly, natural way. Whether you're meeting someone for the first time or bumping into an old friend, these phrases will help you start any chat with confidence. In each episode, we'll keep it fun and relaxed. Expect real-life examples, clear explanations, and a bit of laughter along the way. So grab your headphones, take a deep breath, and get ready to dive into the English game. All right, let's get started. Say it with me. Hello, world. Let's play.
Wow, what an incredible moment when you reconnect with someone from your past. This brings to mind the idea of 6 degrees of separation. It's amazing to think how closely we are all connected. Just picture this. A simple stroll down the street can lead to a reunion with a long-lost friend. It's like the universe is orchestrating these magical moments, don't you think?
Yeah, I totally see that. So, do you think there's some kind of cosmic force pulling people together? I mean, I once ran into an old college buddy at the grocery store after years. But, what if the people getting lost were, in a different dimension or something? Laughs.
Haha, now that's a wildly fun idea. Different dimensions. But focusing back on your grocery store encounter, those moments can feel surreal, right? You bump into someone, and all the time apart suddenly disappears. It's emotional. Memories resurface, and you just end up chatting for hours. Remember how Alice and Ben were so excited to grab coffee? That's the beauty of reconnecting.
Right. But, how do you even know when it's the right moment to reach out to someone after being apart? Should you just send a text, or plan this big grand reunion?
Great question. It really depends on the relationship. Sometimes, a simple text like, "Hey, I just thought of you," can work wonders to break the ice. Many people truly appreciate that small gesture. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, why not surprise them with a planned meetup? The spontaneity of that can create even more magic. Imagine the excitement.
Wow, I seriously love that idea. It's like throwing a friendship renaissance party. Wait, do people actually do that? Gather a bunch of old friends together?
Absolutely. I've seen it all the time. People even organize Friendsgiving events where they invite friends instead of family. It's such a beautiful way to celebrate those relationships. Speaking of food, didn't Emily and David meet up at that cozy Italian restaurant? They were reminiscing over pizza and pasta. True food lovers.
Totally. I love how sharing food can be like the universal language of connection. Have you ever had a meal that zapped you back to some nostalgic moment?
Oh, definitely. For me, the smell of a good homemade lasagna takes me right to my grandmother's kitchen, full of laughter and the scent of herbs. It's remarkable how food can anchor us to our past. But the ambiance plays a crucial role too. The atmosphere of that restaurant made Emily and David feel cozy and connected instantly. It's all about the vibe, right?
Right. So do you think the vibe of a place can totally change your entire perception of a reunion? If they met at just a fast food joint instead of a cozy restaurant, would it completely alter their experience?
Absolutely. The environment is super important. In a vibrant restaurant with soft lighting and a lively atmosphere, you're more likely to linger and share stories. Think about it. Would Alice enjoy a deep conversation over burgers in a bustling diner? That just wouldn't have the same gravity.
Haha. Oh gosh, I can't even picture that. It's like trying to have a heart-to-heart while someone is screaming about their order, or a kid's tantrum in the background. It's just not the same, Laughs.
Exactly. And connecting in places like supermarkets or doctor's offices can spark significant conversations. They may feel brief but meaningful, like when two shoppers exchange tips on healthy food. It's like finding small islands of connection amidst the chaos of daily life.
Oh, I absolutely love that analogy. So those grocery store chats can actually help build community too, right? Like, does that mean people should spend more time in their local shops to foster relationships?
You bet. Local shops serve as social hubs. People share ideas, recipes, and health tips, like that fun exchange about yogurt and cheese. And don't get me started on those doctor visits. It's such a unique setting for connection. The vulnerability there can create a special bond.
Ugh, yes. I always feel like the doctor-patient relationship is so, intimate. But it's interesting how the atmosphere shifts when discussing health. Is it weird to think a checkup can feel more personal than some social interactions?
Not at all. It can feel profoundly personal, especially when discussing health concerns. Even small changes, like practicing relaxation techniques, can significantly alter someone's trajectory. The doctor isn't just providing care. They also tend to engage in thought-provoking conversations.
That makes so much sense. So it's about building trust. Even in those situations where you might feel anxious or vulnerable, it's incredible how connections weave through all aspects of life, isn't it?
Exactly. Life is layered, and these moments with people, whether it's a friendly reunion on the street or a random chat with someone in line, can shine a light on paths we didn't even know existed. They enrich our lives in remarkable ways. It's all about being open to those connections, my friend.
Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at something that seems really, really simple. But we're going to go deep, we're going to do a deep dive on it.
Yeah.
It's how to introduce yourself in English.
Oh, wow.
And, a lot of people might think that's like super basic.
Right.
But, that's really where it all starts.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the foundation for being able to speak English confidently and like connect with other people who speak English. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things that we might take for granted. Like we kind of just assume everyone knows how to do it.
Right.
But when you really break it down, there's actually a lot to it.
Yeah.
And for this deep dive, we have a really great resource.
Oh, cool.
It's actually the transcript from another podcast.
Oh, wow.
It's called Hello, Basic Introductions. And it has this kind of like subtitle.
Yeah.
Fala aí, mundo, entering the game of English. So it's clearly aimed at beginners.
Cool.
And it's really encouraging and like uses really straightforward language.
Awesome.
So we're going to be pulling out like the key insights from that transcript today.
I like it. So basically, we're going to like give people a shortcut
Yeah, exactly.
to being able to introduce themselves.
Yeah, like a practical guide to starting conversations.
Cool.
So they can like walk into any situation and feel like they've got this.
Yeah, and not be afraid. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
To like speak up and stuff. So, okay, let's jump into it.
Okay, let's do.
So let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Like the warm up, the initial greeting.
Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's interesting is that they start with like the most basic things.
Okay.
Hello and hi.
Right.
Like those are the first words
Right.
that they talk about.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, but it's so universal.
Right.
You can use that anywhere.
Yeah, it's like you can use it with anyone.
Exactly. And what they point out is that like hello is a little more formal than hi.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like hi is a little more casual.
Oh, I see.
Like you might use it with friends.
Yeah.
But hello,
Yeah.
you could use with like anyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, like you wouldn't walk into a job interview and be like, hey.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation who you're talking to.
Totally.
And actually the host even suggests like saying them out loud
Oh, cool.
as you're listening.
So like right now?
Yeah, so like right now, just take a second and say hello
Hello.
and hi.
Hi.
It's like you're already practicing.
No,
You're getting ready.
It's like a warm up.
Exactly.
I like it.
And then they move on to time-specific greetings.
Oh, okay.
So like, good morning, good afternoon,
Good evening.
good evening. Exactly.
Yeah. Those are good.
Yeah, and those are really practical
Right.
because it's like they tell you what time of day it is.
Right. So you know when to use them.
It's like a little clue.
Yeah, exactly.
Built into the greeting.
Yeah, and it shows that you're paying attention to like the time and the situation.
Yeah, it shows you're aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're not just saying words.
Right.
You're actually thinking about what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So, good morning. It's obviously for the morning.
Right.
Good afternoon is like from midday until like the evening.
Yeah.
And then good evening is like once it starts getting dark.
Right. So it's kind of like once the sun sets.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Then it's evening.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the original podcast emphasizes that these greetings are like really fundamental to social interaction. Like they're not just words. They're like a way of showing respect.
Yeah.
And acknowledging someone's presence.
Right.
Like you're saying, hey, I see you. I'm here.
It's like the bare minimum
Yeah.
of being polite.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So we've talked about greetings.
Now let's move on to like the main event.
Oh, okay.
Introducing yourself.
Okay, so how do you actually do that?
Well, they start with this really basic phrase.
Okay.
Hello, my name is.
Okay.
And it's so simple.
It is, yeah.
But it's so effective.
Yeah, just get straight to the point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the host actually gives an example.
Yeah.
She says, hello, my name is Kate.
Right.
And then she encourages the listener to like insert their own name.
Oh, cool.
So try it.
Okay.
Just say in your head, hello, my name is.
Hello, my name is.
And then your name.
Yeah.
See, it's like you're already starting to practice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once you've introduced yourself,
right?
You probably want to know the other person's name.
Right. Like you got to find that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the question they give is, what is your name?
What is your name?
Exactly.
Straightforward.
Super simple.
Yeah.
And again, they encourage you to like say it out loud.
Okay. What is your name?
Yeah. Just to get used to the sound of it.
It's like you're already having a conversation in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they give this like little sample dialogue.
Oh, cool.
To show how it all fits together.
Okay.
So person A says, hello, my name is, and then they give a generic name.
Right.
And then person B says, hi. And then the generic name that person A just said, my name is, and then another generic name.
Gotcha.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then person A says, nice to meet you, and then repeats person B's name.
Oh, that's cute.
It's like a complete little interaction.
Yeah. It's like you've done it.
Yeah, you've introduced yourself.
You've learned their name.
You've said nice to meet you,
Oh.
and you're ready to go.
Yeah, you're ready to move on to like, more interesting topics.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
And the transcript really emphasizes that these are like building blocks.
Okay.
You start with these basic phrases, and then you can add more as you get more comfortable.
So it's like a foundation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
And they also say that it's really important to speak clearly.
Okay.
And not too fast.
Right, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, especially when you're a beginner.
Like it's more important to be understood.
Exactly.
Than to like speed through it.
Yeah, clarity over speed.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've met someone, you've introduced yourself, you've exchanged names.
Right.
What's next?
Well, the transcript moves on to these like basic questions.
Okay.
That you can ask to kind of like get to know someone a little better.
Okay, cool. Like break the ice a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are the questions?
So they talk about, how are you? Where are you from?
What do you do?
What do you do?
Exactly.
Those are good. Those are like classics.
Yeah, they're like the go-to questions for when you first meet someone.
Right.
So let's start with, how are you?
And they point out that this is like a way of showing that you care.
Okay.
About the other person.
Right.
Like you're interested in their well-being.
So it's not just like a literal question.
Right. It's not like you're actually expecting a detailed answer.
Right. It's more like a formality.
Yeah, it's a social convention.
Gotcha.
And they give this little dialogue.
Okay.
So person A says, hello, my name is, and then generic name again.
Right.
How are you?
Okay.
And then person B says, I'm fine. Thank you. And you?
I'm good. Thanks.
I'm good. Thanks.
Exactly. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah, it's like a standard exchange.
Yeah.
And you notice how person B says, and you.
Yeah.
Like they're returning the question.
Right. So you got to be ready for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be like, I'm fine, and then walk away.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Yeah. It's important to show that you're interested in them too.
Right. It keeps the conversation going.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Okay, so the next question is, where are you from? And this is a good one because it tells you something about the other person's background.
Right.
Like where they come from.
Yeah, it can be a good conversation starter.
Yeah, you might find out that you have something in common.
Right.
Like you've been to the same place.
Or you know someone from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they give you a sentence structure that you can use.
Okay.
I am from, and then you fill in the blank with your country or region.
So like, I am from the U.S.
Yeah. Well,
I am from Brazil.
exactly.
Cool.
And they also give a slightly longer dialogue this time.
Okay.
So it starts the same way. Hello, my name is, generic name.
Huh.
How are you?
Gotcha.
And then person B says, hi. Generic name. I'm fine, thank you. My name is another generic name. Where are you from?
I'm from.
Yeah, I'm from. And then they give a country
Right.
and you.
I'm from.
Yeah, I'm from. And then a different country.
Awesome. So it's like a little back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
And what's cool is that in just like a few sentences, you've already learned a lot about each other.
Yeah, it's like you've established a connection.
Exactly.
Cool.
Okay, so the last question they talk about is, what do you do?
What do you do? Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and this one can be a little tricky
How so?
because it can mean different things.
Oh, right.
Like it could be about your job
Right.
or your studies.
Or even like your hobbies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But the transcript keeps it simple
Okay.
for beginners.
Okay, good.
So they give examples like, I am a student,
Right.
or I work as a, and then you fill in the blank with your job.
So I work as a teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
I work as a musician.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And they encourage you to think about your own answer.
Yeah, like what would you say
Exactly.
if someone asked you that?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then they give another dialogue.
Okay.
So it starts the same way as before. Hi, my name is, generic name. How are you? Hello. Generic name. I'm great. My name is, another generic name. Where are you from?
I'm from.
Yeah, I'm from. And then a country.
Yeah.
I am from. A different country. What do you do?
I am a jailer.
Yeah, I am a Gerald.
Yeah.
And then either their job or their student status.
Gotcha.
So it's like they're building on the previous questions.
Right. It's like a whole conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Flowing naturally.
Yeah. And what's cool is that you can adapt it
Okay.
to your own situation.
So like if you're not a teacher,
Right.
you could say, I'm a student.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I work in a shop.
Exactly.
It's all about making it personal.
Yeah, making it relevant to you.
Yeah, I like that.
So we've covered the basic questions.
Right.
Now the transcript actually gets into a little bit of grammar.
Oh, okay, cool.
Specifically, they talk about the verb to be.
Okay, so why is that verb so important?
Well, it's like the foundation of so many sentences,
Oh, okay.
especially when you're introducing yourself.
How so?
Well, think about it. You use it to say your name.
Right. I am.
Yeah, I am.
My name.
I am.
You're years old.
Exactly your profession.
I am a
Yeah, I am.
teacher or whatever.
Yeah, or your origin and from.
I'm Zembalera.
Exactly.
So it's like everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Wow.
It's like the glue that holds everything together.
Okay.
And the transcript gives you the different forms of the verb.
Okay.
So like I am, you are, he, shite, is.
We are, they are.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they focus on I am and you are because those are the ones you'll use the most.
Right. When you're talking to someone.
Yeah, when you're introducing yourself.
Yeah.
And they give you examples of how to use them in sentences.
Okay.
So like, I am name,
Okay.
you are learning English.
Oh, cool.
He is from country.
Right.
She is adjective.
Okay.
And they even use examples that relate to the listener.
Oh, that's cool.
Like we are listeners.
Yeah.
They are beginners.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. It makes it more personal.
It's inclusive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also point out this like basic sentence structure.
Okay.
Subject plus to be plus complement.
Okay, what does that mean?
So the subject is like who or what the sentence is about.
Okay, so like I.
Yeah, I, you,
Right.
he, she.
Right.
And then to be is the verb.
So am, are, is.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the complement is like the information about the subject.
So like my name.
Yeah, your name, your age,
Yeah.
profession.
Gotcha.
So for example, I am a teacher.
Okay.
I is the subject.
Ham is the verb.
Teacher is the complement.
Cool, so it's like a formula.
Yeah, exactly. Once you know the formula.
You can make tons of sentences.
Exactly. You can just plug in different words.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the grammar down. Yeah,
Excellent.
what about like expanding our vocabulary?
Yeah. So the transcript talks about adding a little more detail
Okay.
to your introductions.
Okay, but like not too much.
Yeah, not too much. You don't want to overwhelm people.
Right.
Just a few extra things.
So what kind of thing?
So they suggest mentioning your age.
Yeah.
Like, I am years old.
Right.
Your job or studies.
Like I am a student or I work as a...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your hobbies.
Oh, cool. Like
Yeah, I like to play guitar or I like to read.
awesome.
They give you a longer example introduction.
Okay, let's hear it.
Hello, my name is generic name. I am age years old. I am a student worker and I like hobby. I am from country, Nice to meet you.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's still pretty basic.
Yeah, it's still using all the same building blocks.
Nope.
It's just adding a little more detail.
Yeah, and it gives you good structure to follow.
Yeah, like a checklist.
Exactly.
Cool.
So we've talked about all the positive stuff.
Right.
Now let's talk about some of the challenges.
Okay, like what are some common mistakes?
Well, the transcript actually addresses that.
Okay, good.
And they start by saying that it's okay to make mistakes.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's really important to remember that.
Yeah, because everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly, especially when you're learning a new language.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Yeah, it's how you learn.
So don't be afraid to mess up.
Exactly. Embrace the mistakes.
I like it.
And they give some helpful tips,
Okay.
like speaking slowly
Right.
so that you can pronounce the words correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Practicing regularly.
So like talking to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Or with friends, if you have any who speak English,
Yeah.
listening to English as much as possible.
Right, like music and podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, anything you can find.
Oh.
And they reiterate that you shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right. We've heard that one before.
Yeah, it's really important.
Okay.
And they also point out a very common mistake,
Okay.
forgetting the verb am,
Oh, yeah.
like saying I, John, instead of I am John.
Right. It's easy to do.
Yeah, it's a small word, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah. It can sound weird if you leave it out.
Yeah,
So remember your am.
remember your am. And again, they emphasize clarity over speed.
Right. Speak slowly.
Speak slowly and clearly.
Be understood.
Exactly.
Cool.
So we've talked about the basics.
Right.
Now, the transcript briefly mentions some real-life situations
Okay.
where you might use these introductions.
Oh, cool. So like where would I actually need to know this stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So they talk about parties,
Okay.
classrooms,
Right.
and work.
So like pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much
Right.
any situation where you might meet new people.
Gotcha.
And they emphasize that these phrases are adaptable.
Okay.
You can use them in all sorts of situations.
So it's not like you need to learn a whole new set of phrases
Right, exactly.
for every situation.
These are like the basic building blocks.
Gotcha. So once you know these,
You're good to go.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing the transcript talks about is mental practice.
Okay.
Like imagining yourself in different situations
Oh, cool.
and practicing your introductions in your head.
So like a mental rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. I like it.
And this is actually really helpful
How so?
because it helps you prepare for real-life conversations.
Okay.
Like if you imagine yourself introducing yourself to someone at a party
Right.
and you practice what you're going to say in your head,
Then when you actually go to a party,
you'll feel more confident.
yeah, it's like you've already done it before.
Exactly.
Cool.
And it's also a good way to just like reinforce the phrases.
Right, just get them in your head.
Yeah, make them feel more natural.
So it's like studying but without the stress.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
we have.
What are like the key takeaways?
Okay, so the most important things to remember are the greetings.
Hello, hi.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Right.
Then the basic self-introduction.
Hello, my name is...
Exactly, and nice to meet you.
Right.
And then those 3 essential questions.
How are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
You got it.
Boom.
And of course, the verb to be,
Right, the glue.
the glue that holds it all together.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So basically, you now have like a whole toolkit
you do.
for introducing yourself in English.
You're ready to go out there and meet new people.
Yeah, and like start conversations.
Exactly. And this brings up an interesting question
Okay.
for you, our listener.
Okay.
How can you take these like simple steps
Right.
and actually apply them in your life?
Yeah.
Like think about it, even just saying hello to someone new
Hmm.
or practicing your introduction in your head.
Right.
Those are small things,
Yeah.
but they can make a big difference.
Right. It's all about building confidence and
Okay.
like taking those first steps.
Yeah, and who knows where those steps might lead.
Right.
Maybe you'll make a new friend
Yeah.
or learn something new.
Or even get a new job.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thank you for exploring these fundamentals with us
We hope you learned something new today
and that you feel more confident about introducing yourself in English.
and that you'll go out there and practice.
Exactly. Get out there and use your new skills.
Awesome. Well, until next time, happy English speaking.
Happy English speaking.
Goodbye. Bye.
Hello. Basic introductions. Hey there, world. Entering the English game. This episode is designed especially for A1 level English learners, following the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. It is written entirely in English and is presented as a monologue by your host. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this step-by-step journey into the basics of English self-introductions and greetings. Let's jump into it. Hello, everybody. I'm Kate, your host, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on this very first episode of Hello, Basic Introductions. Hey there, world. Entering the English game. Today, we're going to explore the absolute basics of starting a conversation in English. Whether you're saying hello on the street, introducing yourself in a class, or meeting someone at a cafe, I've got you covered. In this episode, we will learn how to greet someone, introduce ourselves, ask simple questions, and even share a little bit about our personal details, all in friendly, clear, and natural English. I know that learning a new language can sometimes feel overwhelming, but remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every time you open your mouth and speak, you are taking one more step towards mastering English. So, grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's take this journey together. In my talk today, I'll break everything down into simple parts, provide you with lots of practice opportunities, and offer some cultural tips that make your learning not just effective, but also fun. Let's get started. The power of greetings. The first thing we all do when we meet someone is greet them. Greetings are the very first words you say. They set the tone for every conversation. In English, the simplest greeting is just, hello. It's friendly, short, and works in any situation. So start by saying out loud, hello. Feel the energy behind that friendly, open sound. There's also hi, which is just as common but more informal. Imagine you're meeting a friend or a classmate. You would say hi with a smile. When you say these, be sure to adjust your tone so that it sounds welcoming. Try it now. Say hi several times until it feels natural. Now, depending on the time of day, there are more specific greetings. In the morning, you might say, good morning. This is a warm, cheerful greeting to start someone's day. Clear your mind and say with me, good morning. As the day progresses, you might opt for good afternoon if you're speaking around midday or after lunch. And later in the evening, say good evening. Each of these phrases is polite and helps you connect on a personal level. Remember, the little things count. Even the way you say hello or good evening can make someone feel welcome. When you speak, try to smile a little. Even if someone can't see you, your happy tone comes through in your voice. It's these small details that build friendly bridges between people. Keep practicing these greetings. Make it a habit to greet people every day in English. With time, these words will become second nature. Introducing yourself. After greeting someone, the next thing you need to do is introduce yourself. This is one of the most important moments in any conversation because it's how people learn who you are. The formula is very simple. Start with a greeting, then state your name. For example, you can say, hello, my name is Kate. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now, when you meet someone, replace Kate with your own name. Practice it out loud in a front of mirror exercise. Hello, my name is your name. Take your time. Saying your name slowly and clearly helps ensure that others can understand you perfectly. When you introduce yourself, you are opening the door for a conversation. Often, the other person will want to share their name as well. Although I'm the only voice here today, imagine you're at a party, in class, or in a cafe. By saying your name clearly, you invite others to say theirs. A good tip to remember is to speak confidently. Even if you think your English isn't perfect yet, speak slowly and clearly and don't be afraid of making slight mistakes. We all learn from them. Every hello, my name is I that you say is a victory. Repeating this phrase over and again will build your comfort and confidence. I encourage you to try this exercise. Stand up, look in the mirror, and say, hello, my name is your name. Do it 5 times. Notice how your speech becomes clearer with each repetition. This simple exercise is the foundation of your English speaking journey, and it's one you can practice anywhere, anytime. Asking basic questions. Conversation doesn't stop at an introduction. Once you have greeted someone and given your name, you can ask some basic questions to keep the dialogue going. Asking questions is one of the best ways to show interest in the person you're talking to, and it helps you learn more about them. Let's look at a few of the most common questions you will need at your level. How are you? This is a friendly and common question that helps you know how the other person is feeling. When you say, "How are you?" you are not only expressing interest but also inviting the other person to share a little about themselves. Speak clearly. How are you? Where are you from? Another great question that helps keep the conversation going is asking about a person's origin. When you ask, "Where are you from?" you are politely inquiring about the person's hometown, country, or even city. Again, practice saying it. Where are you from? What do you do? This question allows the conversation to go deeper. It can refer to the person's job, studies, or even hobbies. Asking, "What do you do?" might get you an answer. Like, "I am a student," "I work at an office," or "I love painting." Say it with clarity. What do you do? These questions are all you need to get a simple conversation started. Take a moment to practice each one until you feel comfortable. It's wonderful to realize that with just a few words, you can start a dialogue that opens up the world. When you ask these questions in real-life situations, listen carefully to the responses. Even if you're not sure what the answer means at first, use it as an opportunity to learn and ask follow-up questions. I suggest you practice these basic questions one after another. Imagine you're meeting someone new. First, greet them, then ask, "How are you?" Pause for a moment, then ask, "Where are you from?" And finally say, "What do you do?" These steps build a strong structure for any conversation. Sharing personal details. Sometimes, after you exchange greetings and basic questions, you might want to add a few extra details about yourself. This is where you start to share more of your personal story, making your introduction richer and more interesting. One common detail is your age. For example, you can say, "I am 25 years old." It's a straightforward way to share a bit more about yourself. Of course, only share the details you are comfortable with. Another important piece of information is what you do. At this level, many learners say, "I am a student." Or if you work, you might say, "I work in a shop," or "I teach English." Keep it simple and clear. Hobbies are also a great addition. You can share what you love to do in your free time. For instance, "I like reading books," or "I enjoy playing soccer," or even, "I love listening to music." Now, let's put it all together into one complete introduction. Here's an example. "Hello, my name is Kate. I am 25 years old. I am a student and I love reading books. I am from the United States. Nice to meet you." Repeat that several times until it feels comfortable. This fuller version tells your listener not just your name, but a few details that make you unique. When people hear you share your interests and background, it creates more opportunities for a friendly, engaging conversation. I encourage you to write down your own detailed introduction. Think about your favorite hobbies, your work or studies, and a few other small details like your hometown. Then, practice saying your full introduction again and again. The more natural it feels, the easier it will be when you actually meet someone new. Practice exercises and repetition. Practice is the key to success in language learning. Repetition not only helps you remember the words and sentences, but also builds your confidence. I'm now going to walk you through several exercises to help you reinforce what we've covered so far. Exercise 1, mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror. Look directly at yourself and say, "Hello, my name is," your name. Then add a detail. "I am your age, years old. I am a student, and I like your hobby." Watch yourself speak and notice your facial expressions and body language. Smile and speak clearly. Do this exercise at least 5 times a day. This practice not only trains your pronunciation, but also builds your self-esteem. Exercise 2. Voice recording. Use your phone or computer to record yourself. Say your basic greeting and introduction slowly and clearly. Listen to the recording and check your pronunciation. Did you say hello clearly? Is your name easy to understand? Repeat the recording practice until you are satisfied with your clarity. This is a great way to monitor your progress over time. Exercise 3. Question and answer. Drills now. Imagine you are meeting someone for the very first time. First, say your greeting and introduction. "Hello, my name is," your name. Then pause as if you are waiting for their response. Next, say, "How are you?" Pause again, and then say, "Where are you from?" Finally, say, "What do you do?" Even if you do not have a partner, Perform these drills slowly and confidently. With every repetition, these sentences will become more natural, and soon you will be able to use them without thinking. Exercise 4. Role play in your mind even. Though I'm speaking to you as a single voice today, you can do a role play in your mind. Imagine meeting someone at a cafe or in a classroom. Picture the scene, imagine their smile and the friendly response. Visualize the conversation. Although you are the only one speaking, your mind will simulate the interaction, making you feel ready for real situations. The secret to mastering these basics is to never stop practicing. Every time you say, "Hello, my name is," your name, you are taking another step towards fluency. You may feel nervous at first, but trust me, consistency will build your confidence over time. Cultural niceties and insights. Learning English isn't just about memorizing words and phrases. It's also about understanding the culture behind the language. Greetings and introductions differ around the world, and knowing a little about these differences will help you connect better with native speakers. In the United States, for example, greetings tend to be very informal. People often say hi or hello with a smile and sometimes even a handshake. In countries like the United Kingdom, you might hear good day or simply hello, often accompanied by a polite nod. In Australia, you might hear a friendly g'day. Notice how even within English, there are slight variations in the way we greet one another. When you practice your greetings, think about the context in which they will be used. If you're in a formal setting, you might choose good morning or good afternoon. In a casual conversation among friends, hi works perfectly. Adjust your tone and the speed of your speech according to the situation, and you will find that your greetings become much more flexible and natural over time. Understanding these cultural nuances will enrich your experience with the English language. It reminds you that language is not just words on a page, but a living, breathing way to connect with people from all walks of life. As you practice, imagine yourself in different settings, maybe at a busy cafe, a friendly classroom, or a quiet park, each with its own set of customs and expressions. This mental image will add depth to your practice and help you remember these phrases even better. How to overcome nervousness and build confidence. I know that speaking in a new language can sometimes feel intimidating. It's completely normal to be nervous when you first start speaking in English. But remember, every time you step out of your comfort zone, you are expanding your skills and opening yourself up to new opportunities. One tip for overcoming nervousness is to remember that mistakes are part of learning. Every time you say a word incorrectly, you are learning and growing. Instead of worrying about being perfect, focus on getting your message across. Confidence grows with every attempt, no matter how small. Another helpful technique is to practice deep breathing before you speak. Take a slow, deep breath and remind yourself that you are prepared. Remind yourself that each hello is a chance to learn and improve. With practice, what once felt awkward will eventually feel natural. I encourage you to celebrate every little success. Whether it's a clear pronunciation of hello or a smoothly delivered introduction, take pride in your progress. Keep track of your improvements in a language journal. Write down your introductions, record them on your phone, and listen back to note your improvement. These small achievements add up over time, making your journey in learning English not only successful, but also incredibly rewarding. Extending your introductions. Additional details. As you become more comfortable with the basics, you may wish to add more details to your introductions to make them more engaging. Let's explore a few more ideas that you can include in your self-introductions. One aspect you might mention is where you live. For example, you could say, "I am from city or country." Sharing this detail allows the person you are speaking with to learn more about your background. Next, you might want to talk about your studies or your work. Instead of just saying, "I am a student," you can add, "I study subject," or "I work in industry." These extra details give your listeners more context about who you are. Another great addition is to mention your hobbies or interests. You can say something like, "I enjoy reading, listening to music, and playing sports." Or be more specific if you prefer. "I love reading mystery novels," or "I enjoy playing soccer on weekends." By adding these details, you introduce topics that could spark further conversation. People love hearing about shared interests, and it helps build an instant connection. I challenge you now to craft your own extended introduction. Write down a version that includes your name, age, where you are from, what you do, and your favorite hobbies. Then practice speaking it aloud until it feels as comfortable as saying hello. This exercise is a wonderful way to not only practice speaking, but also to reflect on who you are and what makes you unique. Tongue twisters and pronunciation exercises. A fun and effective way to improve your pronunciation is through tongue twisters. Tongue twisters might sound a little silly at first, but they work wonders for your clarity in English. Let's try a couple of them together. First, slowly repeat. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Take your time and say it slowly. Repeat it a few times, then try it a bit faster each time. This exercise helps you train your mouth to form different sounds quickly and clearly. Now try another. Hello. Happy humans have hearty hearts. Practice this one slowly first, then gradually work on speeding up your pace. Even if it feels challenging at first, these exercises are a fun way to improve your articulation. The goal isn't to be perfect immediately, but to build muscle memory in your mouth and tongue so that you can form the words more clearly over time. Feel free to experiment with your own tongue twisters. Create a playful phrase that includes some of the common sounds you find difficult, and then practice it repeatedly until it feels smooth. Over time, you'll notice improvements not just in tongue twister speed, but in all your spoken English. Daily practice. Routines and tips. Now, let's talk about how to integrate these basic introductions and phrases into your daily routine. Consistent practice is key to language learning. Here are a few ideas that you can easily incorporate into your daily life. 1. Daily greetings. Every morning, greet your family members or even yourself in the mirror with a cheerful, "Good morning." Practice saying it slowly and clearly. By doing this, you set a positive tone for the day. Self-introductions. Practice. Allocate 5 to 10 minutes a day to practice your full introduction. Stand in front of a mirror, record your voice, or even try reading it out loud in different parts of your home. Do this daily until your introduction sounds natural and confident. Speak with a friend. If you know someone else who is learning English, set aside time to practice together. Even if it's just over the phone or through a video call, speaking with someone helps solidify what you've learned. Keep a language journal. Write down the new phrases and introductions you learn each day. Reflect on how you feel the next time you say them and record any improvements. Over time, you will be amazed at how far you have come. Shadowing exercises. Listen to native speakers online in videos or podcasts and try to mimic their tone, speed, and pronunciation. This technique, called shadowing, is a great way to train your ear and improve your speaking rhythm. Integrating these habits into your daily life will significantly accelerate your learning process. The more you practice, the more natural each word and sentence becomes. Remember, consistency is far more important than perfection. Every little bit of practice is a step forward. Overcoming challenges and staying motivated. It's perfectly normal to experience moments when you feel frustrated or stuck. Learning a new language takes time, and there will be ups and downs along the way. During those times, remind yourself why you started. Think about the exciting conversations waiting for you in the future. If you ever feel nervous about speaking, take a moment to breathe deeply. Remind yourself that every mistake is a learning opportunity. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Maybe you once struggled with the pronunciation of, "Hello, my name is," but now you can say it with confidence. Every success, no matter how tiny, matters. I want you to keep in mind a simple truth. Every time you speak, you are improving. Even if you stumble over a word, you are still learning, and every error teaches you something new. Don't be too hard on yourself. Instead, focus on the progress you've made. You are building skills that will serve you for life. Consider setting small, achievable goals. Maybe today your goal is to introduce yourself confidently to a friend, a neighbor, or even a teacher. Tomorrow, perhaps you will ask someone, "How are you?" Incremental steps add up to big results over time. Write down your goals and check them off as you complete each one. This habit not only boosts your confidence, but also motivates you to keep going. Review and mini quiz. Now let's review what we've covered in today's episode. Reviewing your material is important, as it reinforces your learning. In my monologue today, we went through basic greetings. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Self-introductions. Hello, my name is your name. Basic questions to build a conversation. How are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Sharing additional personal details such as age, occupation, and hobbies. Fun pronunciation exercises like tongue twisters. Daily practice routines and motivational tips to keep you moving forward. Now, I have a quick mini quiz for you. Take a moment to think about each question and then answer out loud. What simple word do you say when you first meet someone? The answer is hello or hi. 2. How do you properly introduce yourself? You say, hello, my name is your name. 3. Which question should you ask to learn how someone is feeling? That would be, how are you? If you want to know where someone lives, what do you say? You ask, where are you from? 5. How do you include additional details about yourself, like your job or hobby? For example, I am a student or I like reading books. Think about these questions and say the correct answers out loud. This mini quiz helps reinforce what you've learned and boosts your confidence. Personal tips and final advice. Before we wrap up, I want to share some personal advice that I found very useful when learning a new language. Speak without fear. Remember that everyone makes mistakes. If you stumble, simply correct yourself and move on. The most important thing is to keep practicing. Practice out loud. Don't be afraid to use your voice. Speaking out loud, even if it feels awkward, will help train your brain and muscles for the correct pronunciation. Enjoy the process. Try to find joy in every hello you give and every introduction you practice. Learning is not just about reaching a destination. It's about enjoying each step along the way. Use everyday moments as practice opportunities. When you're at a cafe, in the park, or simply greeting your family members, practice in English. The more you integrate it into your daily life, the faster you will become fluent. Record yourself periodically. Saving your voice recordings allows you to track your progress over time. Listening to your own progress can be very encouraging and can highlight areas for improvement. Celebrate small victories. Every time you manage to introduce yourself or ask a question in English, celebrate that win. Language learning is a journey of many small steps that lead to great progress. Take these tips to heart and remember that steady progress is the key to success. With each practice session, you're becoming a more confident speaker. Looking ahead, what's next? As we come to the end of this episode, I want to share a glimpse into what you can expect in upcoming sessions. Today, we focused on very basic introductions and greetings. In future episodes, we'll expand your vocabulary and delve into more detailed conversations. We'll talk about topics like family, hobbies, daily routines, and even express your opinions on simple subjects. Each episode is designed to build upon the previous one so that gradually you feel more and more comfortable speaking in English. Imagine a future conversation where you can talk about your day, share your favorite movie, or even ask for recommendations on restaurants and places to visit. These skills will become part of your everyday life, and soon you won't even need to think twice about which phrase to use. I'm here to guide you every step of the way, and I cannot wait to see your progress. Now keep practicing these basics. Revisit this episode as many times as you need. Every time you listen to it, repeat the phrases and imagine yourself confidently greeting someone in English. You are taking one more step toward fluency. Before we finish, I want to leave you with a heartfelt message. Learning English or any new language is a courageous journey. It involves stepping out of your comfort zone, trying new things, and building confidence one word at a time. Every hello, my name is that you say is a door opening to new friendships, adventures, and opportunities. I am immensely proud of you for taking the time to invest in your language learning journey. Remember, perseverance is the key, and every small effort adds up to significant progress over time. Whether you practice in the morning, during lunch breaks, or before bed, every moment you spend speaking English is a celebration of your commitment to self-improvement. Take these lessons to heart and keep this podcast episode as a reminder that every conversation starts with the simple act of saying, hello. Embrace each greeting and let it be a source of joy and connection in your life. Thank you for spending this time with me on Hello, Hello, Basic Introductions, Fala aí Mundo, Entering the English Game. I sincerely hope this episode has brightened your day and given you the tools to speak English with more confidence. Keep practicing, stay curious, and always remember, every great conversation begins with a single hello. Until our next session, keep challenging yourself, keep smiling, and keep saying hello to the world. I look forward to joining you again soon. Have a wonderful day, and remember, you are one step closer to mastering English with every word you speak. Thank you for listening to this episode of Hello, Hello, Basic Introductions, Fala aí Mundo, Entering the English Game. I encourage you to revisit this session often, practice the phrases we covered today, and look forward to new adventures in our upcoming episodes. Have fun, stay motivated, and always greet the world with a cheerful hello.
Exploring daily expressions used by A1 English students. Entering the English game. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, and today we're diving into a topic that is essential for anyone starting out on their English language journey. I'm your host, Kate, and today we're going to explore the most common daily expressions used by beginner-level English students, those small phrases and soft-spoken sentences that are used every single day. Whether you're greeting a friend, chatting with a classmate, or simply practicing in front of the mirror, these expressions will help you sound natural and friendly. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into the game of English together. Let me start by saying that learning a language is like discovering a secret code that unlocks a whole new way of connecting with the world. Every time you speak English, especially when you use these daily expressions, you are stepping into conversations with confidence, no matter how small or simple they might seem. In today's episode, we're going to break down expressions that are used in everyday situations. From greetings like, hey, how are you? To polite phrases such as, thank you so much, and even casual comments like, that's awesome. You'll hear an abundance of friendly and informal ways to communicate. All of these expressions are crafted for A1 level learners according to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which means you don't have to worry about complicated structures or heavy vocabulary. We're here to build your confidence, one expression at a time. Now, why do we focus on daily expressions? Because these phrases are the building blocks of communication. When you master them, you're not merely memorizing words, you're learning how to trigger natural conversations. Using everyday language makes you sound more comfortable and real. In a world where language is a living tool, the simple words you use every day can open up new friendships and broaden your horizons. So get ready to practice, repeat, and enjoy the language. Basics of daily greetings. Let's start with the very simplest expressions, greetings. Imagine you're walking into a room, meeting someone for the first time, or even greeting your classmates online. One of the most essential phrases is hello. It is friendly, universal, and appropriate for almost any situation. Now, try saying it out loud with me. Hello. Simple and warm, isn't it? But wait, there's more. Another common greeting is hi. It is shorter and even more casual. Hi is great when you want to sound relaxed and approachable. But what about when you want to add a touch of time of day context? That's when you use phrases like good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. In the morning, greet people with good morning. Imagine the sun rising, and as you step out of bed, you greet your day and the people around you with cheerful energy. Later in the day, a good afternoon can set a positive tone, and in the evening, good evening is both polite and friendly. Now, I know that sometimes it can feel a little awkward to keep repeating these simple words, but remember, these expressions are your everyday tools. They're used in classrooms, cafes, and even when you log on to your online study groups. When you greet someone with hello or good morning, you're opening a door to a conversation. And conversations, no matter how short, can lead to deeper connections and more practice. Exploring daily expressions used by A1 English students. Entering the English game. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, and today we're diving into a topic that is essential for anyone starting out on their English language journey. I'm your host, Kate, and today we're going to explore the most common daily expressions used by beginner-level English students, those small phrases and soft-spoken sentences that are used every single day. Whether you're greeting a friend, chatting with a classmate, or simply practicing in front of the mirror, these expressions will help you sound natural and friendly. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into the game of English together. Let me start by saying that learning a language is like discovering a secret code that unlocks a whole new way of connecting with the world. Every time you speak English, especially when you use these daily expressions, you are stepping into conversations with confidence, no matter how small or simple they might seem. In today's episode, we're going to break down expressions that are used in everyday situations. From greetings like, "Hey, how are you?" to polite phrases such as, "Thank you so much," and even casual comments like, "That's awesome." You'll hear an abundance of friendly and informal ways to communicate. All of these expressions are crafted for A1 level learners according to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which means you don't have to worry about complicated structures or heavy vocabulary. We're here to build your confidence, one expression at a time. Now, why do we focus on daily expressions? Because these phrases are the building blocks of communication. When you master them, you're not merely memorizing words, you're learning how to trigger natural conversations. Using everyday language makes you sound more comfortable and real. In a world where language is a living tool, the simple words you use every day can open up new friendships and broaden your horizons. So get ready to practice, repeat, and enjoy the language. Basics of daily greetings. Let's start with the very simplest expressions, greetings. Imagine you're walking into a room, meeting someone for the first time, or even greeting your classmates online. One of the most essential phrases is hello. It is friendly, universal, and appropriate for almost any situation. Now, try saying it out loud with me. Hello. Simple and warm, isn't it? But wait, there's more. Another common greeting is hi. It is shorter and even more casual. Hi is great when you want to sound relaxed and approachable. But what about when you want to add a touch of time of day context? That's when you use phrases like good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. In the morning, greet people with good morning. Imagine the sun rising, and as you step out of bed, you greet your day and the people around you with cheerful energy. Later in the day, a good afternoon can set a positive tone, and in the evening, good evening is both polite and friendly. Now, I know that sometimes it can feel a little awkward to keep repeating these simple words, but remember, these expressions are your everyday tools. They're used in classrooms, cafes, and even when you log on to your online study groups. When you greet someone with hello or good morning, you're opening a door to a conversation. And conversations, no matter how short, can lead to deeper connections and more practice. Let's move on to an expression you can use when you agree with something. For example, when someone says something you really like, you might say, "That's great," or "That sounds good." Let's practice these phrases. Repeat with me. That's great. That sounds good. These are excellent ways to show your interest and positivity without having to add too many words. Now, picture yourself in a situation where you need to express that understanding. A very common expression is simply, "I see." This phrase shows that you are listening and that you understand what the other person is saying. It can be accompanied by a nod or a smile, making the interaction more engaging. Another everyday expression that you will often hear is, "Sorry, I don't understand." This is essential for beginners because it can sometimes be challenging to catch everything that's said. Using this expression not only shows humility, but also invites the other person to speak more slowly or explain again. Practice saying it in a polite tone. "Sorry, I don't understand." It's a great way to ensure you get the information you need without feeling embarrassed. Expressions like these are the bread and butter of daily conversations, and using them makes your speech sound natural. They're short, sweet, and to the point, which is exactly what you need when you're just starting out. Expressions for everyday situations. Let's get into some everyday situations where you might use several expressions together. For instance, imagine you are at a coffee shop. You walk in and the barista greets you with, "Good morning." You say, "Good morning," and then proceed to order your favorite drink. Here, you might say something like, "Hi, can I have a coffee, please?" Or even something more detailed. "Hello, could I please get a large coffee with a little milk?" These kinds of expressions not only help you practice your vocabulary, but also teach you how to mix in polite words like please and thank you. Always remember, adding please and thank you goes a long way in making your conversation sound kind and respectful. Next, let's consider another common scenario, talking with classmates at school. When you meet someone new at school, you might say, "Hello, my name is your name. How are you?" If the conversation continues, you can ask, "What are you studying?" Or, "Which class are you in?" These simple questions allow you to connect and learn more about each other. They are especially useful in school settings when you're just getting started in a new class or group. Sometimes you might run into confusion during these conversations. When that happens, don't hesitate to use the phrases we talked about earlier. For example, if someone says something quickly, you can always say, "Sorry, I don't understand. Could you say that again?" This not only shows that you want to get it right, but also gives you a moment to catch up. It's perfectly okay to pause the conversation and ask for clarification. In informal settings, you might also use casual expressions like, "Cool, thanks." For example, if a friend tells you about a new movie or a fun event, you can respond with, "Cool, thanks for telling me." It's another way to show you're engaged in the conversation. Or maybe you'll hear, "No problem," after you apologize for a small mistake. These everyday expressions help you sound relaxed and natural. Now, let's dive into a few more phrases that you can start using immediately. If you're meeting someone new and you want to express excitement, you might say, "That sounds awesome." Imagine a friend tells you about their new hobby or a fun event, and you reply, "That sounds awesome." It's a simple, positive expression that shows you care about what they're saying. Similarly, if you want to encourage someone, you might say, "You can do it." It's supportive and friendly, and it doesn't require any special vocabulary. Another phrase you might use is, "I'm just kidding." This is common in casual conversations when someone makes a lighthearted comment or tease. It's important to keep the tone friendly so that your humor comes across naturally. Expressions that show understanding are also key. For example, if you need to confirm something, you could say, "Right, I got it." Or simply, "Okay, I understand." Practice these responses until they come naturally in your conversations. They are perfect for when you need to nod along without interrupting the flow. Let's not forget the importance of expressing gratitude in everyday interactions. Some of the most common expressions include, "Thank you so much," "Thanks a lot," and even just a simple, "Thanks." Remember to vary your expressions of gratitude based on context. When someone holds the door for you or helps you with directions, a sincere thank you goes a long way in building rapport. Expressions in everyday life outside the classroom. Our daily expressions are not only useful in school or work, but also in everyday life activities like shopping or traveling. Imagine you're in a store picking up groceries. A friendly exchange might go like this: "Hi, can you help me, please?" When the staff helps you, you can respond with, "Thank you so much." Or, if you're asking for directions in a new city, you might say, "Excuse me, could you show me where the bus station is?" And when someone provides directions, you say, "Great, thanks." These expressions are invaluable. They allow you to navigate your daily life confidently, whether you're asking for help, expressing your needs, or simply being polite. Every time you step into a store or meet someone on the street, these expressions become part of your toolkit in English. Let's talk about ordering food. Ordering at a restaurant can feel intimidating when you're not used to speaking a new language. But when you break it down, it's straightforward. Start with a greeting, "Good evening," then approach the server and say, "Hello, I would like to order, please." Follow that with the exact order. "I'd like a burger and fries, please." After your meal, you can say, "Thank you, that was delicious." These small exchanges help you build confidence in real-life scenarios. And the best part is that you're not expected to memorize a long script. Just a few friendly phrases work perfectly well. Traveling is another area where these expressions come in handy. Whether you're asking for help at a tourist information center or interacting with locals, phrases like, "Hi, can you help me? Where is the museum? Thank you for your assistance." And even, "Have a great day," will make all the difference. Imagine being lost in a bustling city and confidently asking for directions with a simple, "Excuse me, where is the train station?" The local's friendly response, followed by your polite "thank you," creates a positive interaction that could make your day a little brighter. Interactive practice session. Now that we've explored many common expressions, it's time to put them into practice. I want you to take a moment with me and repeat these phrases until they feel natural. I'll guide you through an interactive practice session. Feel free to pause the podcast if you need more time. Let's start with simple greetings. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Repeat each expression out loud several times. Let yourself feel the warmth behind each greeting. Practice making your voice sound friendly and cheerful. It might sound a bit silly at first, but that's perfectly okay. The more you say it, the more comfortable you'll become. Next, practice introducing yourself and asking questions. Hello, my name is your name. What is your name? How are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Imagine there's someone in front of you. Say each line clearly, then imagine the other person replying. Even if you're practicing alone, pretend that you're interacting with a friend. Visualization is a powerful tool for language learning. Now, let's add in some everyday expressions. That sounds awesome. I see. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I don't understand. Again, practice these slowly. Think of situations where you would naturally use these phrases. If someone tells you about their day, you could say, "That sounds awesome," when you agree or feel joyful. When you're following instructions, a simple "I see" shows you're paying attention. And when you need clarification, "Sorry, I don't understand," is perfectly acceptable. For a more interactive role-play simulation, try this mini dialogue in your mind. Imagine you are in a cafe. You enter and greet the cashier. "Good morning, my name is your name?" The cashier replies, "Hi, welcome." Then you say, "Could I have a coffee, please?" After receiving the coffee, you say, "Thank you so much." Picture this conversation over and over until the phrases feel natural. I encourage you to record yourself during these practice sessions. Listening back to your recording can help you identify areas where you might need further practice. Even if you feel that you're making mistakes, remember that every single repetition builds your fluency. Don't worry about perfection. Every hello you say is a step forward. Cultural notes and the importance of context. As we continue our conversation, let's take a little detour to talk about culture, specifically how everyday expressions can vary based on the situation and the people you're talking to. Even within English, there are subtle differences when you speak formally versus informally. For example, in a classroom setting, you might start a conversation with a formal "Good morning. My name is your name." In contrast, if you're hanging out with friends, a casual "Hi, I'm your name. How's it going?" works perfectly. The context shapes the way you speak, and over time, you'll learn to adjust your tone and choice of words accordingly. Another cultural tip is about politeness. In many English-speaking countries, using please and thank you is not only polite but expected in everyday interactions. Whether you're asking for help in a store or ordering at a restaurant, always remember to add please when you ask and thank you when you receive something. It shows respect and makes your conversation smoother. For example, when asking, try saying, "Could you help me, please?" And when finishing a request, reply with, "Thank you very much." There's also the matter of body language and tone. Even though this podcast is only my voice, when you're speaking in person, your facial expressions and gestures play an important role. A warm smile when saying hello, or a nod when someone tells you something shows that you are engaged in the conversation. While you practice these phrases out loud in private, try to remember the positive impact that a genuine smile and friendly demeanor can have when you meet someone face to face. Sometimes you might hear expressions that sound very similar to what we've practiced today, but with slight variations. For example, some people might say hey instead of hi. That slight variation is perfectly acceptable and is often used among friends. The key is to listen carefully to native speakers and try to mimic the natural flow of their conversation. Over time, you'll pick up these nuances and begin to incorporate them into your daily speech. Understanding the cultural context of these expressions makes all the difference. It's not just about saying the words correctly, but also about knowing when, how, and why to use them. As you continue practicing, imagine the different scenarios in which you might use these expressions: greeting your teacher, talking to a cashier, or even calling a friend on the phone. Each context invites a slightly different use of language, and being aware of these differences will help you become a more natural and confident speaker. Expanding your vocabulary with useful expressions. Now, let's push our boundaries a little and introduce some additional expressions that are often used in daily conversations. These expressions are still simple enough for A1 learners, but will add a little extra flavor to your interactions. When you agree with someone's idea, you might say, "That's true. Absolutely. I agree with you." Each of these expressions conveys agreement and can be used interchangeably. For instance, if a friend says, "I love music," you might reply, "Absolutely," to show your enthusiasm and shared interest. If you want to express surprise or enjoyment, you might use phrases like, "Really? That's amazing." "Wow, that's cool." "No way." These expressions are playful and show that you are actively engaged in the conversation. They can be used in contexts ranging from hearing a friend's exciting news to reacting to something unexpected. When offering an opinion gently, you can say, "I think so." "Maybe you're right. That sounds good to me." These are great for everyday conversations where you want to be polite and respectful, even if you might not fully share the same opinion. Remember, tone matters. A soft and friendly tone makes these expressions come off as sincere rather than confrontational. Another set of useful expressions includes those for ending a conversation politely. "It was nice talking with you. I have to go now, but thank you. See you later." Using these phrases helps to conclude interactions gracefully. Whether you're at the end of a study session or leaving a social event, saying goodbye in a friendly manner makes everything come together nicely. Also, don't forget interjections and fillers like, "Well, actually, you know." These words are often used in natural conversation to give you a moment to think, and they're part of everyday speech in the English language. While overusing them might not be ideal in formal writing, in casual conversation, they add a touch of authenticity. Now, take a moment to practice these extended expressions. Mix and match them with the basic phrases we learned earlier. For example, imagine a conversation where a friend tells you about a new movie. You might say, "Wow, that sounds cool. I absolutely agree with you. It's amazing how movies can change our mood, isn't it?" The more you practice, the more naturally these expressions will blend into your speech. Daily expression drills and repetition exercises. It's time to solidify what we've learned with some focus drills. Drills are simply practice repetitions that help embed these phrases into your memory. Grab your notebook and let's outline a few drills. Drill 1. Morning routine drill. Imagine you're greeting the day. Stand in front of the mirror and say aloud, 1. Good morning, everyone. 2. Hello, my name is your name. 3. How are you today? 4. I'm feeling great, thank you. Repeat this routine several times. Focus on each word, ensuring your pronunciation is clear and your tone is warm and inviting. Drill 2. Conversation starter drill. Visualize yourself meeting someone for the first time. Start with a greeting, then introduce yourself. 1. Hi, I'm your name. 2. What's your name? 3. How are you? 4. I'm good, thanks. Pause between each phrase, imagining the natural pause of a real conversation. Repeat until you feel comfortable. Drill 3. Expressing agreement and enthusiasm. Record yourself saying the following sentences. 1. That's awesome. 2. Really? That sounds great. 3. Absolutely, I agree. 4. Wow, no way. Listen back to your recording. Notice your intonation and the energy in your voice. If necessary, adjust and try again. These drills are designed to be fun and engaging. Each repetition builds your confidence. Drill 4. Polite requests and responses. Imagine you're at a store or cafe. Use polite expressions. 1. Excuse me, could you help me, please? 2. Thank you so much for your help. 3. You're welcome. 4. Please have a good day. Repeat these phrases several times, varying your pace until they sound natural. This drill not only improves your fluency, but also ingrains polite social habits in your language. Practice these daily drills, and over time, you'll notice that the expressions become a natural part of your vocabulary. Consistency is the key. Every time you repeat these phrases, you're paving the way towards effortless conversation. Role-playing real-life scenarios. Another powerful way to master these expressions is through role-playing. Even though you're listening to my voice right now, try to imagine the following scenarios in your mind. Visualize the setting, the people, and the dialogue in each situation. Scenario 1. At a coffee shop. Imagine entering a busy coffee shop on a cool morning. You approach the counter and say, "Good morning, my name is your name. Could I please have a latte?" The barista smiles and responds, "Of course. Would you like any extra flavors?" You reply confidently, "That sounds great. Thank you." After receiving your coffee, you say, "Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful day." Visualize this conversation over and over. The more vivid your mental picture, the easier it will be to recall these expressions in real life. Scenario 2. In a classroom setting. Picture yourself in an English class full of friendly faces. You greet your classmates as you sit down. "Hi, I'm your name. How is everyone today?" One classmate might say, "I'm good. What about you?" You reply, "I'm doing well. Thanks. I'm excited to learn today." Then the conversation might continue with simple questions like, "What did you do yesterday?" Or, "Do you like this class?" Practice these imaginary exchanges in your head until you feel comfortable stepping into a real conversation. Scenario 3. Chatting with a neighbor. Now, imagine you're walking down the street and you see your neighbor outside watering their plants. You walk over and say, "Hello, my name is your name. How are you today?" Your neighbor smiles and might reply, "Hi, your name. I'm doing well. Thanks. How about you?" You could respond with, "I'm good. Thank you. It's such a nice day today, isn't it?" Such everyday interactions are the foundation for building your conversational skills. Picture these scenarios vividly and practice the expressions until they feel as real as the morning sun. Role-playing these real-life scenarios by yourself is a powerful exercise. It equips you with the confidence you need to use your new expressions in actual conversations. Repetition, visualization, and practice will transform these phrases from something you recite into something you naturally say. Extra tips for building fluency and confidence. As we near the end of today's session, let's talk about a few extra tips that will not only help you remember these daily expressions, but also boost your overall confidence in speaking English. 1. Consistency is key. Practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Every little bit counts. Consistent practice builds muscle memory in your mouth and brain, turning your rehearsed expressions into natural conversation. 2. Record and reflect. Use your phone or any recording device to capture your practice sessions. Listen to your recordings and note any pronunciation or intonation issues. This reflective process allows you to chart your progress over time. 3. Engage with native speakers. If possible, try to interact with native English speakers through language exchange meetups or online tutoring platforms. Listening to them use daily expressions in a natural setting reinforces what you've learned and gives you a real-world model to mimic. 4. Keep a journal. Write down new expressions and phrases that you encounter. Sometimes, jotting them down in a journal helps cement them in your memory. Review your journal regularly and try using the phrases in sentences on your own. 5. Don't fear mistakes. Remember, mistakes are a natural part of learning a new language. Every error is a step closer to mastery. Don't be discouraged if you stumble. Each mispronunciation or hesitation is merely proof that you're trying and learning. 6. Stay positive and have fun. Enjoy every hello you say, every question you ask, and every conversation you start. Learning a language is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. Celebrate small victories and practice with a smile on your face. 7. Visualize success. Take a few moments each day to visualize yourself confidently using these expressions in real-life situations. Picture the friendly smiles, the nods of agreement, and the positive feedback you receive. Visualization is a powerful tool that reinforces your positive self-image as a fluent speaker. With these extra tips, you will not only expand your vocabulary but also build the confidence needed to tackle more complex conversations as you grow. Embrace every practice session as a chance to improve and connect with people in this amazing global language. Final review and encouragement. As we wrap up today's episode on exploring the daily expressions used by A1 learners, let's take a quick review of what we've covered. We started with the basics of greetings like hello, hi, good morning, and more. We moved on to simple self-introductions, the importance of asking basic questions such as, how are you, and where are you from? And we even expanded into more detailed expressions for everyday interactions. You learned about thank you phrases, polite requests, affirmations, and casual expressions like, that sounds awesome, and I'm just kidding. We also practiced scenarios from a coffee shop, a classroom, and even chatting with a neighbor. Finally, I shared extra tips for consistency, recording your practice, and building your self-confidence. I want you to take a deep breath, pat yourself on the back, and remember that every time you practice one of these expressions, you're one step closer to speaking English confidently. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Mistakes are just stepping stones on the road to fluency. The key is to keep trying, keep practicing, and always remain positive about your progress. Before we say goodbye, here is a quick mini quiz to reinforce some of today's expressions. Read each question in your head, then answer aloud. What casual greeting can you use when meeting a friend? Answer: hi. How do you politely ask someone for help in a store? Answer: excuse me, could you help me please? What expression would you use to show agreement? Answer: that's great, or I agree with you. How do you show gratitude after receiving help? Answer: thanks, or thank you so much. Great job. Remember those answers, as they are the little tools that will serve you in many everyday conversations. As we come to the end of today's session, I wanted to keep in mind that exploring these daily expressions is not just about memorizing words. It's about unlocking a new way of connecting with others, making new friends, and feeling comfortable in your new language. Every greeting, every question, every polite phrase is a doorway to a conversation that can change your day. I encourage you to revisit these expressions often. Keep practicing using the drills and role-playing exercises we discussed. Record yourself, listen to the recordings, and notice how your fluency improves with time. Every new expression adds another layer to your understanding of English and builds your confidence. In our next episodes, we'll continue to explore more advanced expressions, delve into common idioms, and even throw in some fun slang for when you feel adventurous. For now, celebrate the small victories of today, like mastering hello and confidently asking, how are you? Because these form the foundation of everything you will achieve. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey.
All right, so you've pulled together like some really solid starting points for English learners, right? Those essential A1 level things that help you get going.
Sure.
I kind of see this as like a fast track, to those first confident English conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we're trying to do in this deep dive is pinpoint the most useful and encouraging, like, everyday phrases that you can start using right away.
Exactly. I think it's about getting those core building blocks that give you that kind of immediate feeling of, yes, I can actually do this. I can communicate.
Yeah.
The resources that you've looked at cover a fantastic range from, those initial hello moments to how to introduce yourself naturally, the basic flow of conversation, and even just situations like chatting with your classmates, shopping, getting around while traveling.
Yeah.
And we'll even touch on a few smart ways to practice.
Absolutely. So much good stuff to cover.
There is, yeah.
But let's dive right into something super fundamental. We got to start somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And that is greetings.
Okay, greetings.
Yeah. Greetings. They seem so basic, but they're really that very first step in connecting with someone, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think what's really interesting to consider is even a word as simple as hello, the power that that holds.
Right.
It's almost universally accepted, isn't it? You can use it in pretty much any situation, whether you're meeting someone for the first time in a formal setting or acknowledging a stranger in the street. And then you have hi, which carries that slightly more relaxed feel, perfect for your friends, your classmates, or more casual encounters. And it's funny how that choice between those two can sometimes signal the level of formality you're aiming for in that first interaction.
That's a really good point. I like that. That's a good takeaway right there.
Yeah.
So hello and hi. Those are your go-tos.
Yeah.
But then we have those time-of-day greetings, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Yes.
It's more than just acknowledging the time, though, isn't it?
It is.
It really sets a tone for that interaction.
I think it does.
When someone gives you that, really cheerful, heartfelt good morning, it instantly makes things feel more positive.
Yeah.
It opens a door for connection, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And it brings up, another important aspect, which is tone and the way you carry yourself. How much does that influence these simple greetings?
Right.
The sources you shared actually touch on this. It's not just about pronouncing the words correctly. It's about the warmth that you convey. So a friendly tone, maybe a smile, slight nod. These all amplify that positive impact. They make you feel more approachable, and it builds your confidence in reaching out.
Definitely. So you've offered a greeting, right?
Yes.
What's that logical next step in starting the conversation?
Well, I think when we're thinking about building conversational confidence from the ground up, the phrase, hello, my name is your name, is so invaluable. It's direct, it's clear, everyone understands it. It might feel, quite basic, but it's that absolute foundation for letting people know who you are. And just a little tip, even if you're feeling nervous, try to say it clearly and make a little bit of eye contact. It makes a huge difference.
It does. It really does. And it so naturally leads to the other person sharing their name in return.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Exactly.
Right? It's such a simple way to show you're not just focused on yourself. You're interested in who they are, too.
Yeah.
And that little exchange can really break the ice and make everyone feel more comfortable.
And what's also helpful to have up your sleeve is, that slightly expanded introduction. Hello. My name is your name. I am 8 years old. I study English and I love hobby. And this gives a little bit more context.
Yeah.
And as the sources suggest, it can be a fantastic way to find some common ground. Sharing a hobby, for example, can instantly spark further conversation. Imagine saying you love music and the other person does too. Suddenly you have something to talk about.
You have a connection. Yeah. But I think it's really reassuring to know, especially when you're just starting out, that you don't need to give your whole life story in that first interaction.
Absolutely not.
Even a simple, hi, my name is your name, is totally fine.
Totally fine.
The most important thing is to be clear and to say it in a friendly way, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. The initial goal is just to make that connection and feel comfortable putting yourself out there. You can always share more as you become more confident and as the conversation progresses.
Exactly. Okay, so we've handled greetings. We've handled introductions. Now, what are some of those essential phrases that kind of keep the conversation ball rolling in those everyday interactions?
Well, I think it's interesting here how many of these core expressions center around politeness and showing consideration for others. So take how are you and the more informal what's up. These are your go-to ways of inquiring about someone's well-being.
Right.
And having those typical responses ready, like I'm good, thanks, and I'm fine, thank you, is just as important for that smooth exchange.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little dance of politeness.
It is. It's a little back and forth.
It is, yeah.
And we can't overlook the power of saying thank you,
No.
thanks, and thanks a lot.
Are so fundamental just for showing appreciation in all sorts of everyday situations. And knowing that automatic response, you're welcome, is equally vital.
It is, yeah.
For that polite interaction. It's those small courtesies, I think, that really smooth things over.
Yeah, and if we zoom out and think about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
these little expressions of gratitude, they actually build positive social connections. They might seem like small gestures, but they contribute significantly to like that goodwill in our interactions.
You really do. They do. The sources also highlight, ways to show that you're engaged in the conversation, you're being positive, things like that's great and that sounds good. These are fantastic for keeping that conversation flowing and letting the other person know that you're really interested in what they're saying. Exactly. And for those moments when you want to signal that you understand what's being said,
Right.
I see, is such a simple yet effective phrase. And the sources rightly point out that a nod or a slight smile, can go hand in hand with this to make your communication even clearer.
Totally. It shows you're actively listening.
Yeah.
You're processing the information. Now, let's address something that I know is like a huge concern for a lot of beginners.
Okay.
What do you do when you don't understand something?
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah.
This phrase is really emphasized in the resources. And it's so important for learners to feel comfortable using it, isn't it?
It is. And this kind of brings up the whole point of being okay with vulnerability when you're learning a new language. It's crucial to remember that saying, sorry, I don't understand, isn't a sign of failure.
Right.
It's actually an active step in your learning journey. It's polite, it encourages the other person to clarify, and ultimately it helps you learn. So there's absolutely no need to feel embarrassed about needing something explained again. In fact, it often shows you're genuinely trying to engage.
It does. It shows you're really trying.
Yeah.
And it keeps the communication going, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered greetings, we've covered introductions, and those essential conversational, building blocks. Let's look at how all of this comes into play in some really specific, everyday scenarios.
Okay, that sounds good.
And we'll start with something I think a lot of us do pretty regularly, getting coffee.
All right, coffee.
Coffee.
Love it.
Yes. What's interesting here is how those really basic phrases we've been talking about come together in such practical, real-world situations. So the coffee shop example is perfect. You walk in, right? A simple good morning sets that polite tone right off the bat.
Sets the tone, yeah.
And then those ordering phrases like, hi, can I have a coffee, please? Or being a bit more specific with, hello, could I please get a large coffee with a little milk?
Yeah.
They really clearly but politely ask for what you want.
Yeah.
And as the sources rightly point out, those pleases and thank yous in these interactions are so key in English-speaking cultures.
Yeah.
It's often expected, and it's always appreciated.
Absolutely.
It's almost like having a mini script in your head for these common situations.
Yeah, a little blueprint.
Yeah, yeah. And the same principle applies when you're interacting with classmates.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is your name. How are you? It's a great way to start. And then having a few follow-up questions ready, like, what are you studying? Or which class are you in? Can really help build those initial connections.
Yeah. And if we think about the broader context, right, of settling into a new learning environment, these small interactions with your classmates, even if they're brief, can really help you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And start to build a bit of a support network. You never know who might become a study partner or a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, that phrase we talked about earlier, sorry, I don't understand, could you say that again? Is so relevant in a classroom if you miss something. It's about taking ownership of your learning and making sure you're following along.
Yeah, being proactive.
Yeah. Now, the sources also bring in some more casual expressions you might hear.
Right.
Things like, cool, thanks. And that common response, no problem.
Yeah.
They just add a touch of naturalness to your speech.
They do. And they signal that you're comfortable in that more informal setting.
Yeah.
With people you know a bit better.
Exactly. And who doesn't appreciate a bit of enthusiasm?
No one.
Right.
No one.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Is such a fantastic way to react positively to someone's news or plans.
Absolutely.
And a simple, you can do it,
yeah.
is such a powerful way to offer encouragement to someone.
I think what's interesting to observe is how these expressions kind of contribute to the social dynamics of a conversation. Showing that excitement or offering support can really strengthen your interactions and make you a more engaging person to talk to.
Totally, totally. Now, the sources also include, just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an important one.
It is.
For understanding and using lighthearted humor. And it's all about the tone, as they mention, to make sure that your playful comments are understood as intended.
Yeah, don't want any confusion.
You don't want any confusion. And then for those moments when you want to make sure you've understood something correctly,
Right.
I got it. No, okay, I understand. Are really, really useful.
Yeah. They show the other person you're on the same page.
Yes.
You're following along, processing the information.
Exactly, exactly. And we should definitely loop back to expressing gratitude with thank you so much, thanks a lot, and just plain thanks.
Yes.
The sources point out that varying your expressions of thanks depending on the situation can make that appreciation feel even more genuine.
I think it does, yeah.
Right. You know, a small favor might just need a thanks, but someone going out of their way to help you might warrant that thank you so much.
Definitely. And if we think beyond the classroom and the coffee shop,
Yes.
how do these foundational expressions serve you in other common everyday situations?
Right. Well, when you're out shopping, a polite "Hi, can you help me please?" is a great way to start a conversation with a store employee if you need help finding something.
Mm-hmm.
And a sincere "thank you so much" after they've helped you shows your appreciation.
It does. And consider those times when you might need to ask for directions. "Excuse me, could you show me where the bus station is a clear and polite way to get the information you need. And a simple, "Great, thanks," acknowledges their help. It's always good to be polite when you're asking for assistance from someone.
It is. It is. Ordering food at a restaurant
Oh, yeah.
can sometimes feel, I don't know about you, but it can feel a little intimidating.
Yeah, it can.
But the sources break it down really nicely.
Mm.
So starting with good evening,
Mm.
upon arrival, hello, I would like to order, please, when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
It sets a respectful tone.
Yeah.
Being clear and specific with your order, like, I'd like a burger and fries, please, avoids confusion. And ending the meal with thank you, that was delicious, if you enjoyed it, leaves a positive impression.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, travel is a big one.
It is, yeah.
For travel, these basic phrases become like your lifeline, don't they?
They really do.
A simple, "Hi, can you help me?" is a great opener when you need help at an information desk or with a ticket. Asking a direct question like, "Where is the museum?" is essential for getting around. And a polite thank you for your assistance or a friendly "have a great day" as you leave just makes those interactions so much smoother.
It does, it does.
It really highlights how those seemingly small and simple phrases that we've been talking about are really the keys to navigating so many different everyday situations with greater confidence and ease.
They are.
But we need to talk about something that's so important, and it goes beyond just the words themselves. Cultural nuances. It's not just about knowing what to say, but how and when to say it, right?
Absolutely. And what's really insightful here is understanding how context and culture really shape language use.
Yes.
And the sources you shared rightly point out the difference between formal and informal greetings. You'd likely use a more formal hello with your teacher, for example, or someone you don't know very well, whereas hi is perfectly acceptable with friends.
Right.
Recognizing this, this spectrum of formality is key to communicating appropriately.
Yeah. And I think the emphasis on please and thank you in English-speaking cultures really can't be overstated. It's more than just good manners. It's an expected part of everyday interactions. And not using them can sometimes be perceived a little negatively.
It can, yeah.
So it's good to get in the habit of that. The brief mention of body language is also a crucial point. A smile, a nod, these nonverbal cues, they can really reinforce your spoken words and make your communication feel more sincere and friendly.
Absolutely.
Right.
They add another layer to your interactions.
Yeah, they do. And it's also helpful to be aware that there might be some slight variations in how people say things.
Right.
Like hearing hey instead of hi.
Yeah.
As you become more familiar with the language, you'll start to pick up on these little nuances.
You will. And ultimately, as the sources emphasize, understanding the context of the situation is absolutely crucial for using these expressions effectively. It's about knowing when a more formal approach is needed and when you can be more relaxed.
Right, right. We've built like a really, really solid foundation here.
Yeah, we have.
But how can our listeners start to expand their toolkit and move beyond these initial expressions?
Well, I think this is where things get really interesting and you start to add more color to your communication. And the sources introduce some really helpful kind of next level expressions. For example, instead of just saying yes to show agreement, you can use phrases like, "That's true, absolutely," or "I agree with you." These kind of add a bit more weight and nuance to your affirmation.
I like it. And for expressing surprise or enjoyment, instead of just a simple wow, You can use things like, really, that's amazing, or wow, that's cool, or even the more informal no way.
Yeah.
These inject more personality and emotion into your reactions.
They do. And what's also really important is learning those polite ways to share your own thoughts and opinions. So phrases like, I think so, maybe you're right, that sounds good to me,
Right.
are all great ways to contribute to the conversation while remaining, respectful of others' viewpoints. And as the sources rightly note, your tone of voice plays a big role in how these are received.
It really does. Tone is so key. And we need to know, of course, how to end the conversation gracefully. So those phrases like, it was nice talking with you, I have to go now, but thank you, and see you later, are really essential for ending things politely without being abrupt.
Yeah, I agree.
And finally, the mention of those little interjections and filler words like, well, actually, and is so important for understanding natural spoken English. And while you don't want to overuse them, recognizing them and using them occasionally can make your own speech sound more natural and less like you're reading from a script.
It does, yeah.
So we've got like a fantastic set of expressions to work with here.
Yeah.
But what are some really practical tips our listener can use to actually build their fluency and feel more confident using these in real life situations?
Okay. Well, this is where consistent effort really pays off. And the sources offer some excellent advice. So first up, making English practice a daily habit, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, is absolutely crucial.
Right, you don't need to spend hours.
You don't know. It's about integrating it into your routine so that it becomes more natural and less of a chore.
In this next one, I love this tip, the suggestion to actually record yourself speaking.
Oh, yeah.
It might feel a little awkward at first, but hearing yourself can be so helpful in identifying areas where you want to improve your pronunciation.
That is.
And just your overall delivery.
Yeah, you become more aware.
You do. You become much more aware.
And engaging with native speakers, whether that's in person, if you have the opportunity, or online through various language exchange platforms, this is another really valuable tip. Because it gives you the chance to hear these expressions being used in real time and to get feedback on your own speaking.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of keeping a journal, like a notebook of new expressions you learn. Writing them down and then actually making an effort to use them in your own sentences can really solidify your understanding and make them stick.
Yeah, this makes it more active.
Yes, yes. And I think this is one of the most important pieces of advice, if not the most important. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
No, embrace them.
Embrace them. Because those errors are a completely natural, necessary part of the learning process. Every mistake you make is a learning opportunity.
Yeah, it helps you grow.
It does. It helps you grow. And I think staying positive and trying to find the enjoyment in the process is so key for long-term motivation. Learning a new language should be an exciting adventure, not something you dread.
Absolutely. And finally, don't underestimate the power of visualization. Imagining yourself successfully communicating in English in these different situations can actually boost your confidence and make those real-life interactions feel less intimidating when they happen.
It makes it feel more attainable, right?
Totally.
This has been such a great, comprehensive breakdown of these foundational English expressions.
It has, yeah.
So to quickly recap for you listening, we've covered everything from those initial greetings and how to introduce yourself confidently to essential, basic conversation phrases, those specific expressions for different everyday situations, and some really actionable tips for actually building your fluency.
And I think the main takeaway here is that mastering these foundational expressions isn't just about memorizing a list of words. It's the essential first step to feeling more confident and comfortable in your everyday English conversations.
Yes, exactly. And please remember, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to make mistakes along the way.
Absolutely.
That is all part of the learning process. So for your final thought today, I want to encourage you to actively try using just 1 or 2 of these new expressions in your very next English interaction. No matter how small that interaction might be, maybe it's offering a cheerful good morning to someone or simply saying thanks a lot after a small favor. Just notice how it feels, even in that small way. You might be surprised at how these little steps can begin to boost your confidence and open up new possibilities for connecting with others.
I agree. Little steps lead to big progress.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. That's all for today.